As everybody knows, it's impossible to break into the weapon market as an up-and-coming melee weapon. It's dominated by the tried and true Zweihander, Claymore, Balder Sword, and many others. And then this was discovered, the Drake Sword. The hype for this sword was absolutely nuts.
And you'll be using this badass sword for a long time.
Awesome weapon. I haven't found a weapon with better stats than it so far in the game, and I'm pretty far into it.
The unupgraded base damage is a whopping 200 physical damage. Not only is the base damage incredibly high, it's a straight sword, so it swings very fast. For comparison's sake, the beloved Zweihander Ultra Great Sword has 130 base damage, and is another weapon available in the same time frame of the game. For your new player hopping into Dark Souls, the Drake Sword seems clearly like a better option. Soul IGN posted a video titled Dark Souls, Get This Sword. It's the Drake Sword. The video and comment are littered with praise on how good this sword is, how this sword is overpowered, and belittles the game's difficulty. Some even stating that using this weapon is cheating in the game. It isn't just some random weapon laying on the ground that you pick up. You need to achieve some feat of strength in order to earn the Drake Sword. This gives the impression of a mystic aura. It seemed like the good times would last forever with the Drake Sword. We cruised right through the Bell Gargoyles, Capra Demon, Quelaag no problem, and barely upgraded. The only issue is when players started getting further in the game and not realizing the downfalls of the Drake Sword, but the other weapons that had more potential sitting in their inventory. The divide began when players who were farther along in the game began seeing what the Drake Sword truly was, a noob trap. How could you say the sword that helped me steamroll the Bell Gargoyles is a bad weapon? The issue is, they captured the hearts and minds of the worst Dark Souls demographic imaginable, the common melee Chad. What could annihilate bosses before Sen's Fortress is now starting to slow down. Well, this is no issue. The weapon just needs to be upgraded, right? All weapons need to be upgraded in order to perform well, right? Right. Another glaring issue players started to see with the Drake Sword is how it's upgraded. It uses the rare dragon skill in order to be upgraded. Not only is this fairly rare in Dark Souls, there are better options for them to be used on. Better options exist such as the Dragon Bone Fist, Dragon Great Sword, Dragon King Great Axe, Dragon Tooth, Moonlight Great Sword, Priscilla's Dagger, and the Obsidian Great Sword. Once you get your first dragon scale, you'll also notice the insanely high upgrade cost in terms of souls. It costs 10,000 souls each upgrade. This is a high price to pay compared to the couple hundred souls it takes for the Titanite upgrades. The Drake Sword has great base damage but doesn't provide any further scaling. It tops out at 300 attack rating without any way to push it further. For new players who didn't have many levels into strength and dexterity, they didn't care about scaling at all. But now that players are starting to reach the soft caps for certain stats like vitality, they're looking to level other stats like strength, dexterity to increase their damage output. Take for example the aforementioned Balder Sword. Both are straight swords, acquired around the same time, and have somewhat similar stat requirements. Initially the base damage is low, coming in with 80 physical damage, but good scaling with dexterity. Even if you did manage to get 40 dexterity and 27 strength, you'll still only have 146 attack rating when it's unupgraded. Assuming you farmed up dragon skills to do so, the Drake Sword dominates the Balder Sword until it reaches plus 10 upgrade. The Balder Sword starts taking the lead and completely obliterates the attack rating the Drake Sword carries. By this time, players are also looking into weapon enhancements such as Gold Pine Resins, Dark Moonblade, and Sunlight Blade. The Drake Sword is not enchantable, whereas the Balder Sword most certainly is, leaving more to be desired. Now, is it all doom and gloom for the Drake Sword? Not necessarily. It has low stat requirements, making it a low barrier to entry. If you do what I did and try to beat the entire game with it, you'll really notice it start to slow down once you get to the last 4 bosses of the game. Since it scales off nothing, you're also able to put points into whatever you want. It doesn't matter at all. This playthrough I had 45 vitality, 40 endurance, and then I just started pumping faith because why not? It kind of has a sick heavy attack as well, throwing down a big shockwave that goes kind of hard. It does provide native plus 15 magic and flame resistance as well. It has a middle of the pack range compared to the other straight swords, which is nice. Ultimately, it's not the end of the world for a player to take this weapon all the way to the end game. Are there better alternatives out there? Of course, yes. I think every single straight sword is a better option, but it's definitely not the worst option either. Weapons like the Cestus, Castus are really rough, not because of their damage output, but their inability to connect with an opponent. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm trying to branch out from my normal weapon videos to see what else you guys will enjoy. Please let me know what you think of these kind of videos that are more mechanic and history based rather than solely gameplay. Thank you guys, and I'll see you around.